Hey guys, Steve Welch here, Beeman Toyota in Nashville. Everybody wants more for their trade-in, more for their car. They want to make sure that they have the very top dollar whenever they sell their trade-in or their personal vehicle. So what if I told you that a lot of the reasons you don't get what you wanted are your fault? Which technically they can be. So I'm going to go over some of the things that you do that devalue your vehicle. All right, so top thing, it's always the top thing, is smoking. You smoke in your car, you're bringing down the value. So realize that you're paying for the cigarette, you're also paying for what happens to your vehicle. So if you smoke, then you are definitely bringing down the value of your vehicle. So stains on your seats, that obviously rips, tears, things like that. Those are things that will bring down the value of your car. You might just want to have it reupholstered. Don't just put seat covers over it. People know you're hiding something, but maybe you put seat covers over it while you're using it. Pull those off. Don't leave a stained seat cover on it when you go to sell the car. Pull the thing off so that it looks brand new underneath it, especially if you've had seat covers on the entire time, because there's a lot of people that do that. Not maintaining your car. I mean, failure to fix some parts will cause other parts to fail. And realistically speaking, if you get a mechanic that looks at a car, a lot of times you can tell that the car has not been maintained. It's not that hard to tell somebody that just has never seen a mechanic shop. So not maintaining your car will cause it to where you have less buyers that will buy the car. Mechanics will tell people to avoid it, things like that, which means it's going to cost you value in the long run. Doing the repairs wrong. So if you do the repairs on your vehicle wrong, that's going to cause a problem too. So if you have an accident, if you have certain aftermarket parts and things like that that you might put on a vehicle that are subpar, those types of things will cost you money on your car. All right, just realize that. It might even be worse than not maintaining your car, just so you know. Driving your car. Really? Driving your car devalues it? Well, yeah, too many miles. I mean, if you've got a 2-year-old car and it's got 80,000 miles on it, you hurt the value. You hurt the value a lot, right? Realize that people understand that there's miles on it. Your national average, I think, in the US is somewhere between 12 and 13,000 miles is roughly your average for the amount of miles that you'll throw on a car in a year. If you're too far off of that, you're going to hurt the value of your car. It just is. That if you go to the opposite side of that and you have a 5-year-old car with 20,000 miles on it, people start to wonder if it sat too long, stuff like that. So not having enough miles on a car, not driving it enough, could also hurt your value. So those two things could both hurt your value, and obviously you have control over both of those. So losing a key. If you lose the key, it could cost hundreds of dollars. So whether you make the key and you have two when you go to sell it, or whether you just talk to that person that's buying your car and you say, yeah, I only got one key, realize that is going to cost you money. So as long as you know it's going to cost you money, then, you know, so be it, right? As long as you know it's costing you money, then you know it's costing you money, right? So this is something that a lot of people don't think about because they think the opposite of this. So how do you devalue your car? You customize it. And people are like, well, I put this on there, these graphics, these decals. I put this particular kind of running board on there. I put, these are special rims that I put on there that they cost me $3,000 a piece for these rims. And I've put all of these on there, and I've spent $12,000 in upgrades. And usually you go to trade it in or to sell it, and somebody goes, I don't really care. It happens, right? So you'll have spent all this money to fully customize your car and found out that you will get very little, if any, of it back. And in some cases, you'll actually hurt the value because whoever buys the car would rather take off those running boards and doesn't like those rims and doesn't like the aggressive tires that you spent $1,000 a piece on. And they would rather turn around and go back to stock. Well, there's a cost to doing that. So to undo everything you just did, congratulations, you just cost yourself money, right? So just it happens, guys. So just so you know, that happens, right? So all right, so the next one is allowing your vehicle to remain dirty, right? So if you leave things like sap or stuff like that on your car, it's going to damage your paint. So if you just let it stay dirty, let the inside stay dirty, let smells kind of find their ways into the fabric and the interior of your car, it's going to hurt your vehicle's value. It just is, right? So it can eat away your clear coat, damage the paint. It's just and you don't want to pay for a paint job, but neither does the guy buying your car. So that's that. So putting on cheap tires, all right? Cheap tires, a lot of times people look at to tell whether or not you actually cared about your car. If you put a bunch of, like I said before, what we call Maypops on for tires, this unbranded, you know, supermarket chain type tires, and you put those on your car, and they're not a name that anybody would know, right? But you put those on your vehicle, you just hurt your value. Even though you got brand new fresh rubber on there, nobody knows to trust that brand, whether they can, whether they can't. You might as well have left them bald. Just saying, right? But that's, you know, putting them on, or obviously leaving them bald would hurt your value, but putting the wrong ones on, that's going to hurt your value too. So that's something else. So bumper stickers, right? You put bumper stickers on your car. There's people that have bumper stickers over the entire backside of their car. That's fine. You can definitely express yourself, but you realize bumper stickers, magnets, even anything that covers up the paint is going to actually preserve it. And that doesn't sound like a bad thing when you say it's going to preserve the paint. But if you think about it, if everything kind of oxidizes or wears at the same rate, or whatever you want to call that, right? If everything is out in the sun at the same amount, it's going to, you know, like a red car has a tendency to fade over the course of 10 years, right? You have a bumper sticker on for 10 years and you remove that bumper sticker after 10 years, the paint under that bumper sticker is going to look better than what everything around it does, which makes it worse. So it's going to look different. So under, you know, if you've wrapped the whole car, then you're probably all right. But realize that things that aren't covered up will end up looking like, you know, different than things that are. And that's another way that you've devalued your car. All right. So this will make some people mad, I'm sure. But so what's another way you devalue your car? You let your kids in it. We all know you put kids in the back and things get shoved in places and things melt and things, there's a lot of things that happen when you have kids in your car. So if you realize that when you have your kids in your car, it will cost you money, usually, because they're going to do something to it that destroys it. It just is, right? So just realize that. So we'll go from there, right? So pet damage. Right, so if you have pet damage on the inside, you left your dog in your car while you were in the shopping center, and he decided that particular headrest looked really good to chew on, and he ate it while you were gone. And you know, a headrest can cost $400 or $500. People don't even realize that headrests are expensive, and I don't know why the dogs always go for the headrest, but that's pretty much what they go for. But yeah, you know, if they eat that headrest, it's going to cost you money. Something else that you guys do that costs you money is you don't use floor mats. You take out floor mats, you don't like the way they look, they bunched up, whatever. I realize there's reasons to pull them out, but you should definitely have some kind of protection on top of that carpet, because if that carpet wears, you're not going to replace the entire amount of carpet inside the car. So much easier to replace floor mats than it is to replace the carpet, right? So the other thing, you remove items from the car. So items that should be on the car, you remove them. I mean, I've seen people remove stuff that you need, things like rear view mirrors, you know, because they didn't like how they got in the way on your windshield. It doesn't make any sense, but okay. So there's a lot of things that people will remove on a vehicle that will cost money. And you know, there's, you know, like options, tonneau covers in the back, you know, the floor mats, you can remove those and just try to, you know, put those into or sell your car without floor mats. Those removing things will cost it. Take the running boards off of it because you don't like how they look. Took the roof rack off of it because you didn't need it, you didn't like how it looked, or you thought there was a wind noise or something. So removing things from the car, put those back on before you trade it in or sell it, or at least offer the person that's buying it the option to have those. It's going to go ahead and it's going to raise your value higher than what it would have been otherwise. This one's going to upset a few people. I'm from Michigan, so I know how this goes too. So owning it in the north, no matter where you buy it, it's where you own it, right? So if you've been registering your car, every time you re-register your car in a northern state that's known for salt and damage and stuff like that, you are going to cost yourself money. It's the truth, just is, right? So that's something else there. So this is something else that people don't think about. Adding a hitch to a vehicle that does not have a tow rating. If you add a hitch to a Camry, you're likely going to hurt the value. Now, I realize that some people add hitches for things like the little scooters and stuff that you put on there. Just realize that the person that's going to buy that car does not know why that hitch is on there, and likely, unless you are the one that explains it, it's going to lower the value of the vehicle, just because, well, they don't know what you've been hauling with it. Is the transmission good? Is there other issues with the vehicle? It's all possible. And you see a car with a hitch on it that's not a factory hitch, you might wonder why. So definitely that is something that you can do that would hurt it. So splicing wires. I've seen trunks where wires come out of the trunk because they splice the wires to add that hitch. You know, I've seen things like that happen. I've seen things that people that splice things for, you know, decorative lights and stuff along those lines. Realize that once you've spliced those wires, you can't unsplice those wires. And you know, stereo systems, stuff like that. That's one of those things that can definitely hurt you. Now, speaking about stereo systems, going in and replacing a factory system with an aftermarket stereo will most times hurt your value, especially with a newer vehicle. The new vehicles, the radio does a lot more than just play music. There's a lot of settings and things like that that you can use with the radio system, and that you adjust with the radio system. Just realize that if you change that to an aftermarket radio, whether or not there are any problems from that system, it's likely going to lower the value of the vehicle. So putting stickers or phone holders on your dash, that's quite possible that it can hurt your value too, because getting those off can sometimes damage that your dash. If that happens, it's obviously going to cost you some money when that happens as well. Something else that people talk about, so when you put cheap tint on a vehicle's window, so if you're going to tint your windows, there are ways to do it that make a lot of sense. If you put cheap tint on a window, it is going to cost you money because it's going to have scratches. It's going to start to come off. There's going to be reasons that a cheap tint job will actually be more expensive. You're going to end up having to pay to have it removed before you ever sell your car, or to, you know, that next person's going to have an issue. Ever drive behind a car and see all those bubbles on the back window because of a bad tint job? Just realize that there's, you know, bad tint jobs out there, and those will cost you money if you have the bad tint that's on there. So what's the best way to make sure that you maintain the most value? There's one little nugget that I got for you here. The best way to get the most out of your trade-in, like I said, think about this from day one. What's the best way to get the most money? Buy the car that holds its value the best. Now, you guys know we're Toyota here, and Toyotas are notorious for being reliable, for being safe, and for holding their value. So if you buy a car that holds its value better than something else, even if the other car is cheaper, but it loses more of its value over time, you'll find out that owning the more expensive car would actually have been cheaper over time. So just realize that and buy the car that holds its value better. That's going to be the #1 way that you can maintain the value in your vehicle. So what do you guys think? What'd I miss? Bound to have missed something, right? But definitely like, subscribe. I appreciate every one of you guys, and hopefully this list has been entertaining, fun, and you think I got it right. Steve Welch, Beaman Toyota. beautiful downtown Nashville here. You guys have a great day. We will talk to you soon.